Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Oshinoko episode number season 2 episode number 4 reaction. So the previous episode, it was a really good episode because first and foremost the whole situation with Samejima that got resolved kind of because the author of Kyoama, she went and talked to her, and after talking to her they had like a heated argument about what's going on, why is Samejima acting like that, and the fact that she needs to come to a compromise. So they had this whole heated argument, and in the end Samejima was like, like, I'm frustrated that your manga that is so good became like this, and I don't want a repeat of that. And she was like crying and everything. In the end she convinces Samejima to go and at least check out like a theater that Aqua sent her the ticket for it, and decide for herself, like what to do. And now she's on her way to see that, and I'm assuming everything will get resolved, or at least she'll come to a compromise. As they said, they need to take the middle ground, especially her. So yeah, let's see what happens. Episode number 4. I'll be putting subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's begin. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Hmm. Okay. Right. And the fact that this was, like scripted by, what's his name? Goa-san. Even in his dream, he is negotiating. Yep, there you go. Bring her here. Damn. Wow. You got that ready quick. But she already got a ticket. Yup. Nice. No, I think she's gonna say like, bring back Goa-san. Yeah, come on, tell her, like be honest. There we go. Hmm. True. Okay. Right. That makes sense. Hmm. It is utterly possible script. Right. Yeah, that's why. Exactly. So you cannot do the same thing. Exactly. The sunrise. But it won't be. Yeah, it won't be as good. No, it's fact. He's talking about facts. Mm. Bruh. Yeah. You didn't see that? Right. Nice. Okay, let's hear it. Yeah, directly talk with each other. That's nice. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Cut the scene with yeah, but the mangaka herself is saying that. There you go. Okay, it's working properly. I see. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yes. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Um. Okay. Um. Are you guys okay? Right. They're okay. Okay. For a moment, I thought they were going a bit too overboard, but nah. Nice. He's like, bruh, I didn't sign up for this. The one on the bottom right. Well, you know, yeah. Okay. Okay. His visual line has been considerably cut down. Movements alone. Which makes sense. It's theater. That's why, Yeah. Nice. And since the main, like, the mangaka is involved in this, she knows what to do and how to, Okay. Melt is freaking out. Melt is like, damn, can I do this? Hmm. Yep, Melt is freaking. 2 weeks, damn. What about Aqua? I don't think so. He's also gonna struggle with this. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Oh, this is the whole scene with Saya and. Damn! Nope. Yeah. Severe injured and collapsed. He knows because Aqua's situation. Yeah, that's true. You have to like. Mmm. And that's why everyone's like kind of highlighting their like outbursts of their emotions. You can see everyone else as well. Mm. Yeah. True. That is true. But she's not wrong. Oh my god. Osana Najimi. Oh, bro, calm down. Yeah. Yeah. Emotional and physical crying. Oh God. I was just saying, like he must have, he must be able to envision it because of how I died in front of him. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, during I see. No, he's thinking like the times. Yeah, when was the last? Hmm. Like these were happy moments, but I guess something more striking. Okay. Oh my God. This is his past or previous life. Oh boy. Yep. Um. Oh damn. Hangover? What? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. She doesn't want to remember the same thing that he remembered. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, he no. He's thinking like she looks like, kind of like. I guess. Yeah, she does kind of look like I a little bit. Hmm. Yeah. Well, obviously they cannot say that his mother is the Hoshino Ai. Really? Ge- okay, he's not like completely telling her, but kind of. Yeah. And the fact that, Ruby will also remember it and her PTSD will trigger as well. Hmm. Oh boy. Oh, he's dreaming. Oh boy. Oh, oh boy. He can. Oh boy, she's gonna put two and two together. Yep, she's putting everything together. Oh boy. Yep. Yep. Damn. Mm. But here's the thing. Shouldn't she feel weird that why is she calling her I but not mom? Obviously, we know why she's calling her I. He's calling her I because, technically he has been reincarnated. That's why. Well, because I figured everything out. Hmm. Oh, her eyes. Scenario. Aqua Ocean. What? What's that? What was that in the end? I need to go back and see that part again. That was today's episode. Okay, today's episode was kind of divided into two parts. Again, the first part was Samejima coming into like an agreement with Goa, and in the end, they both of them together make the script, or in the process of making a script, and everything looks okay over there. Things are going little better, is going okay. And also the fact that they're actually communicating, like, up until now it was just like, oh, this person talks to this person talks to this person. It's like a whole chain format. So her original intentions went lost in that chain, and the information that Goa was receiving was completely different. So thankfully now they're directly talking to each other. And I was kind of wondering, why do they do it like that? Like, I don't understand. Like, couldn't they have done this from the very beginning, like do like a video call where all four of them are there? Like, why this long ass process? Like, maybe it's some technical stuff which I have no idea about. Obviously a lot of things goes into these type of, like, like adaptations. So maybe there's like a particular reason why they had to do this whole chain format of, like, like Samejima talking to one person and the other person talking to the other person. So obviously they're human beings, they're not robots, they're not going to tell every single thing that they hear. If this was like done by robots and AI, they probably would just like regurgitate every single thing that they heard from Samejima, and like that's how it would have gone. So the lost in like communication thing wouldn't have happened. But they're human beings, so Samejima said something to one person and they thought of it in their own way, and they tweaked it a little bit and told it to the other person, and the other person tweaked it a little bit and told it to the other person. In the end, the whole information is completely lost. So it makes sense why that happened. So I was like, why did they not do what we saw here in today's episode from the first place? Like I said, it's probably something technical which I have no idea about, and maybe something like that. And here's another thing, if you remember, Raida said something like, I tried my best to, like, I think he said something like, I tried my best for this moment where he was where everyone was talking together in the same screen in video call. So I'm guessing it's definitely some kind of technical, like, or maybe like some kind of procedural situation where you cannot let the author talk to the script writer, maybe, or something, I don't know. So Goa said something like, I tried my best to make all of you sit down at the same place. So I guess you have to, like, pull some strings here and there to make that possible, because this was perfect. Like, this, I feel like this was how it should have been done from the very beginning. But since it wasn't done like this, and since I'm assuming in reality as well that's how it usually goes, I'm guessing that there must be some kind of complications. That's why they don't do it like this all the time. So who knows? Anyways, but yeah, it worked. It actually worked. Both of them talked and came up with a proper. Oh, I think Raida did kind of mention one of the reasons, which is probably, he said something like, either, like, the scriptwriter and the author click properly, or they end up like having a huge quarrel amongst each other and never see eye to eye. Maybe that's why they don't let the scriptwriter and the author talk to each other directly. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, but this time it worked, and obviously the reason why it worked is probably because everyone tried their best, and like, because Kiyoama's author, she told Samejima to do a little bit of a, like, come in the middle and do a little bit of compromise, and she herself went and saw the theater, the play. So because of all of that, I'm assuming both of them saw eye to eye, because obviously on Goa's part, Goa already was a big fan of Samejima, so he was ready to compromise because he himself is a big fan of her. However, the problem here was Samejima knew nothing about Goa, so in her eyes, she was thinking like, who the hell is this person? Like, a stranger suddenly comes in and starts making tweaks in my script. Like, what the hell? She got pissed off. That's why. And obviously the whole situation with Kiyoama was a disaster as well, so she has that trauma as well, and she's thinking maybe this is going to, same thing is going to happen to my show, my manga. So that's why. And that's why when she went finally and saw the play, saw the theater, and realized that Goa has done that, the script writing for that as well, she was able to come to a compromise, and she was like, okay, fine, you know what, let's see what you got. And here's another thing I wanted to talk about here. It is true, because different mediums are very different. For example, if you think about anime and manga, which I myself am very familiar with, I don't know much about theater, but I can talk very much well about anime and manga adaptations. Like, it makes sense. For example, not manga, light novel and anime adaptation. Let's just take light novel and anime adaptations. For light novel, for example, since there's no pictures, or most of the time there isn't really that much illustrations as manga have, you have to convey everything through writing. So that's how you have to start writing. For example, to explain which part, what type of scene, environment they're walking through, two characters are walking through, they have to explain it like that. For example, like in a light novel, you have to start in a way like this. For example, the wind was blowing, the sun was shining. I don't know, I'm not a light novel author, but I can just imagine that's how it's done. Something like this, and the birds were chirping. I could smell the sweet smell of flowers coming from a nearby field while I was walking down a path, which was something like that. That's how you start it, and that's how you write a light novel, I'm assuming. Any type of books, not only light novel. In manga, you can see that scene because you can literally draw it. You have like this huge panel of the scenery, like sun shining, like wind blowing, just like flowers, and two people are walking through the middle of the road. You can literally see that. So there's a huge panel like that. You can see that. And then in the next panel, you can, you don't have to write anything. You can just show it through your picture. And then in the next panel, you can draw a few other stuff and everything, and that kind of thing. And for something like when a character is thinking something, or thinking something about in their head, or some kind of expression they're making in a light novel, you literally have to write that down. Like, oh, that after hearing his words, he scowled in a very he scowled in a very a very bad way, but he didn't let the other person see that. Something like that. For example, let's take a scenario like that. In a manga, you can literally draw it like that, and maybe make a speech bubble where you can write what that person is thinking or something like that. And in an anime, you literally cannot do any of that. You have to show everything through expressions. The expressions need to change. You have to make the people understand who's watching without writing anything or without expressing anything, through mere movements and stuff. That is the difference, and that means that's a huge difference. So it's heavily different, and I can only imagine the similar thing happens in theater as well, where the actors will have to show the audience through their own acting what they're feeling. You're not writing it down. It's not that easy. That's why you have to show it through your acting, and that is why most of the time, that is why the source material, which is usually a light novel or be it a visual novel, they are better than the anime, because in the anime, a lot of the time, the characters or the animation is not on par, or the production or the direction is not on par, so they cannot express the emotions properly. While in a light novel, you have a whole 2 lines expressing how the character is feeling, while in anime that gets lost in translation, and most of the time gets skipped off completely. So that's what's happening here as well. It's very different, and that is why Raida was telling Samejima that you might be one of the best mangakas, but I can guarantee you this, that if you write according to your manga knowledge, if you write the script here, it won't be good. Leave this to someone who has experience in this, which is Goa-san. And he knows what to cut and how it will be expressed. And that's why in one of the previous episodes, Goa-san multiple times said that it looks like this, but while you are acting, you won't be able to feel the difference. It will be made up by the acting alone. Which obviously Samejima didn't understand up until now, because she never really saw theater before. She just thought that, oh, they just botched my whole thing and took away the scenes. But Goa is a really good, as we saw, a good script writer. We saw the other, or Aqua and she saw the other, the theater that they went and saw that. So they know how good Goa-san is. And at least hopefully this will not be, even though they're changing the script, this won't be a disaster like Kyoama, because Kyoama was completely just destroyed. Like, neither, like, the direction and everything wasn't properly good as well. The actors weren't good either. Only the only person who could properly act there was Kana, and while Kana couldn't also show her own acting because she herself tries to like rein herself down, her acting down, to match with the others. So all that reason, so there you go. So in the end, it worked out perfectly. Or, even if it's not perfect, they came to a compromise at least, and they were able to come up with a script which both of them can agree to. Yeah. There you go. That was the first part. And then the next part, we deal with the acting part, where the script is like very acting heavy and everything. So everyone's, or a few of them are freaking out. For example, Melt has no idea how to do these type of things, so he's freaking out. Aqua as well is kind of like, a little bit bothered by it, because as we see when he was acting, he cannot express his emotions properly, and since this is theater, you have to be overly expressive. You have to be overly expressive. You have to, I guess you could say, exaggerate your emotions. Like, for example, here you were seeing when Saya was dying. Saya, I think that's her name, isn't it? Yeah. The one who Akane is playing. When Saya was dying, Toki, which is Aqua, he was kind of showing a little bit of a sad face and then kind of like slightly smiling. It won't work like that. This is very different from, I guess you could say, normal movies or cinema, because in movies, when you are doing a part, the camera is on you. Every person is looking at you. This is theater. You will be like quite a distance away. A lot of people will be in the back, and a lot of people's eyes will be on you, will be on the other things that are there, and a lot of other things there will be there. In a movie, you're just focusing on the person, but here there's a lot of other things going on. So you have to exaggerate your emotions and just throw it out there so that everyone can see it. Like, so obviously this is not how characters react when some person dies, but they know it. They know it, and they still have to exaggerate it so that everyone else can see it. It's kind of like, I guess you could say, YouTube in a sense, because like, this is one thing that I feel heavily. And back when I started YouTube, like doing proper videos, and I feel like you guys can probably understand this if you have watched someone from the very beginning. You will see, and I've seen this in other people's video as well, when someone starts YouTube, they start in a very slow and a very, like, quiet way. Like, they talk in a very quiet manner. They kind of, talks very normally. I've seen my previous videos, the first few videos that I did. I kind of watched them, and I kind of see like, oh my god, I was so quiet back then. I didn't really say my words with chest. It was something. It was as if I was talking. I was I was in front of camera. I talk as if I'm talking to some other person. Now the way that I am talking, obviously this is not how I talk to other people. I talk in a very different way. But it comes to you naturally, little by little, and you kind of realize, like, when you are speaking to a camera, and when you are, when you've been doing this for a while, you realize that, obviously in theater as well, I'm assuming, but in YouTube, from my own experience, I've realized that you have to exaggerate your way of speaking, your way of expression, so that the person who's watching you, they look at you, your actions gets highlighted. And that's why you might be able to see a lot of people over exaggerate their emotions on camera. Some people, I feel like some people go a bit too far. They go completely crazy, fall down from the chair and start just jumping around in the that's a bit too far. I feel like that's like full on crazy mode. But at least the way I'm doing it now, you have to do it, especially on YouTube. And I've seen multiple people's video as well. The first video that every single person makes is always very quiet, as if like they're talking to some other person in front of them. But then little by little they realize and they understand, like, oh no, not this. You have to be more expressive. And obviously your own shakiness and your own, I guess you could say, restraints also go down. Like back when I started, I remember I used to think about what to say. And while thinking in my head, I used to speak. And a lot of other things. I always used to think like, oh, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Very restrained. But now it's like I just speak what comes to my head, and I don't even have a script. I don't use script. That's also another reason, I guess. I could be more natural, so yeah. And I feel like this comes little by little, and you understand this. And Aqua, obviously, he himself has his own problem of like inhibiting his emotions. Not only that, he also is not used to expressing himself properly, and that is why he has never done this type of acting. So this is different. This is theater. So he has to understand and adapt and become more expressive when expressing an emotion. When crying, for example, in front of Saya, he has to cry out loud. So that's basically what it is. And Kana kind of said that. Kana exactly just gave the correct points and told him that, oh, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you have to do, and that kind of thing. It's interesting to see because you can see how Akane and Kana are completely like on the opposite sides, completely like they're like two sides of the coin. Like you can see Akane is more of the person who's like praises the other person and tells them everything will be okay, you can do this, that kind of thing. She's like the compassionate type and everything, while Kana is more of a strict type who obviously wants your best, and she knows that like telling you what it is in front of you is going to do more good than just keeping or trying to praise you or do something like that. I think there's a word where they say like there are some people who grows in different way. For example, there's some people who grows when you praise them, and then there's some people who grows when you be more critical of them. There's two type of people. Like if you praise someone, there's a few people when you praise them, they get motivated and they want to do more thing and they better themselves. While there's a few other people who, if you be more critical of them and be like, oh, this is not it, what the hell are you doing? Do it properly. And oh, you can improve on that. Some people grow because of that. So it's interesting to see how Kana and Arima both have like those two sides. And like for example, when Kana was like, oh, don't baby him, like you need to tell him what he needs to hear, and she exactly tells him very frankly and very directly. And you can see Aqua obviously took it in a positive way, and he was like, okay, so tell me more. While Akane was more like, oh, you're doing it, like little by little you'll be able to do it, good job, like all that stuff she was saying. So that was her way of trying to encourage him. So yeah, they're like completely different, like two sides of the coin. And yeah, so there you go. Okay, what else? That was that. Oh, and then there was the other side, other part where I was kind of thinking when Kana said something like, "Oh, you have to think about your mom dying." I was like, "Oh my God, that is that hits too close to home." And yeah, Aqua immediately was like, "Oh Lord," and then he. And I think I myself mentioned it a few moments ago. I was like, the whole situation with Saya dying in his arms, it's kind of reminding me of the whole Ai Hoshino situation. So I was like, maybe he will be able to tap into those emotions and then maybe bring it out over here. So I was thinking of that, and exactly in a few moments ago, Kana literally said that part. Obviously, Kana has no idea about Ai and all that. He doesn't know. She just said that. Oh, think about your parent or your mom going through a situation like that. She didn't know that, obviously, so she had no clue. But obviously, I was like, yeah, like this is exactly what I was talking about. And you can see how far it affects him, that he completely throws up almost and just goes into completely like PTSD. And Akane goes to help him out, and this is where Akane puts two and two together and kind of comes to a conclusion that, oh, maybe he and Ruby has something to do with Ai. Maybe they are her children, and she was thinking of that. She like literally she like puts two and two together, not two and two, like a lot of things she put together at the same time. And she was like, okay, so like Ai Hoshino, his and his sister's obsession with Ai Hoshino. Then what else? Like, oh, their foster parents, their names, how they were involved, how Ai Hoshino was involved with Strawberry production, how she was there, Miyano, I think Miyabi or Miyano, I forgot her name, their adoptive mother. what was her name? Mia, I forgot her name. How she was involved with and how now they are her like, adopted children, all that stuff she puts together, and she was like, oh, I think I just realized something. I'm not 100% sure, but I might be right. And yeah, she is right actually. So she kind of put two and two together, and she does kind of have a basic understanding of what's going on. And obviously she will not express it, and she will not say that to Aqua, but I feel like Aqua also has an idea that she probably understands. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so this part, wait a minute, I have to understand this. What the hell happened in the final scene? We see Gotan, what was his name, Gotanda or something like, yeah, isn't that his name? He is looking, what is this? In his desktop there's Hoshino and Aqua, Hikaru, Hajimari, what? I cannot fucking read. What is this? Hajimari. Hikaru, Hoshino, Aqua. And then we have Studio K library. Hard disk format, 2 hard disk, music, Sozai, river. Komachi. Oh, obviously. B Komachi, I'm guessing. Komachi 4, Komachi 5. Picture. Studio. Sorry about that. Hoshino, Aqua. Wait, the only 4 things that is standing out over here is Hajimari, Hikaru, Hoshino, and Aqua. Hajimari, obviously Hajimari or Hajimaru means start, I'm guessing. So I don't know if it means, if that means literally or something else. Then we have Hikaru. Sozai is also there, but Sozai is basically, I think, raw materials. In Japanese, Sozai means raw materials or something like that, I'm guessing. Then Hoshino. Hoshino is obviously I Hoshino. And we have Aqua. Okay. Interesting. Like, I don't know what is odd about this. There's only, I think, okay, you know what? I'm gonna scratch out Hajimari, because I think Hajimari is basically like, like I said, in Japanese it means like start. So I'm guessing he probably put something there that's going to start, like, like some kind of like stuff. And then Sozai means, I think, materials or raw materials or something like that. So the only 3 things that is standing out is Hikaru, Hoshino, and Aqua. The obviously Hoshino and Aqua, like Hoshino and Aqua. Hikaru seems like someone's name, because Hikaru in Japanese means lighting something. Like Hikari means light, Hikaru means lighting, I think so. Like, again, don't, like, like I'm not a Japanese specialist. I don't speak Japanese. I know Japanese from hearing it in anime. So as far as my knowledge goes, correct me if I'm wrong, Hikari is, translation is light, while Hikaru translation is like lighting something. Like Hikaru, like, isn't it? Wait a minute, let me think. Hikaru. Yeah, I think so. Like, it's more of a verb than a noun. Hikari is light, which is a noun, while Hikaru is like lighting something, or as a verb. So he's written Hikaru. So I'm assuming this is someone's name. Hoshino obviously is I Hoshino. Aqua is obviously Aqua. So okay, so I'm guessing this is something to do with, you know what? I feel like, oh my god, I feel like I realized something because of a particular reason. I'm not going to say anything in case. Oh great, I just realized something. I'm not going to say anything here. It's kind of a funny story. Oh lord, this I think I just realized something, and that's why I was a bit surprised when I saw Hikaru here. There's someone in my Discord called Hikaru, and he's a huge Oshinoko fan. I'm pretty sure, like, I think I can put 2 and 2 together from, like, I'm assuming Hikaru is a very important person in this show. The fact that like that person in my Discord's name is Hikaru, and he's a huge Oshinoko fan. That's why I think I can put two and two together. I don't know who exactly Hikaru is, but I can say this. He's probably someone very important. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think I'm correct. Yep. Good lord. And there you go. But you know what? Like I said, even though I think I can guess probably this Hikaru person is probably someone very very important in this show. I don't know who that person is or what importance that person is. So I'm still in the dark, but I think I can have a guess. Definitely, probably someone related to being like the main like thing, like yeah, the story that's revolving around. Like I'm guessing this person is someone probably related to that. So, anyways, right, and I'm going to end it here. But then you know what? I was completely like sidetracked by that name. But now that I'm thinking about, why does he have his name, Gotanda? Why does he have this name then? Because I'm assuming this person is probably someone very important. Why does he have this name? Wait, let me think. Gotanda was actually he was, oh god, I cannot remember. He was, when did we meet him? We met him in season 1, obviously. We met him when I cannot remember when exactly. Oh, we met him during that acting part, didn't we? That yeah, when Aqua was as a child actor, when Aqua, yeah, it's then when we met him, didn't we? Yeah, I think, yeah, I think I took him to Gotanda and told him, yeah, yep, I think that's where it's been a while, so I've kind of forgotten where we met Gotanda. That's where we met him, and I remember Aqua went to him to help him out and everything, and and as we can see, they got very close. So if this person is in his desktop, so that means this person, who is probably very important to the show, has something to do with acting. Which kind of makes sense because obviously Aqua himself kind of deduced that. He deduced that if I go into this acting scene, I'll be able to get more information about I and what happened to I, and that's why he started this. So yeah, that kind of makes sense, I guess. That connects. You know. Wow, it's crazy because I feel like if this person who we saw on the folder, if this person is probably like a centerpiece to this story, maybe if he is, then I'm guessing that it's crazy to think about that Aqua's trying to find this person and more information about Aqua, not Aqua, sorry, I's past and everything. And it would be pretty crazy that he literally had someone in front of him who has more information and he didn't know that. Something like that. It'll be crazy. Anyways, yeah, and there you go. That was today's episode. So you know what? I'm not going to think more about that because again, it's a very big coincidence that I think I kind of realized something while looking at that part because of a certain situation in my Discord. Um, but I'm not going to be thinking much about that because it's like a very weird type of coincidence. But either way, yeah, let's wait and see. And that was it. That was today's episode number wait, 4, yeah, episode number 4 of Oshinoko season 2. Okay, now let me go through this episode scene by scene in case I missed anything. Oh my god, it's already been a while. I've been talking about this. Okay, in the first scene we get to see Samejima has gone to the theater. She loved it, and when Raida realizes that has happened, Raida wakes up and he's like, oh my god, I need to welcome her. And he like gets ready like some like snacks and stuff. And he welcomes Samejima and he's like, oh, welcome, come sit down. And you can see he is like, at first he tries to play the whole thing off and he's like, oh, how did you like it, this and that. And he tries to kind of sidestep the whole conversation about script, but then he remembers Aqua telling him that you are the only one who can do something about it because you're one of the main people here. So he decides to not sidestep and actually talk to her about the situation. So he's like, his whole demeanor changes and he's like, we need to talk, Sensei, Abiko Sensei. and they have the conversation, and you can see he talks about how, as she is the mangaka, there is a law where here we go. Among the author's personal rights that the writer holds is the right of integrity. So basically, author's personal rights that protect the authors from being hurt emotionally. Right of integrity, the right to prohibit alterations without permission. Right to not have the content or title of your work altered, changed, omitted against your will without your permission. So there you go. Right. Okay, so that's that. And then we have. Wait, then what about Kyoama's author? Oh, I guess she did give the okay. If I remember correctly, she did say that I gave the okay. But she probably didn't expect the adaptation to be this butchered completely. She didn't expect that though. But she did give the okay, I guess. Okay. I was gonna say, like, what about her? But yeah, she did give the okay as far as I can remember. Right. Anyways, so that is why, like, he's saying, like, Haraida is saying that you have your complete right to be like, no, let me do this. I'm going to write this script. You can do that, but it won't be good. Like, that's literally what he says. He says that, like, Goa has a lot of experience in this. If you know, Goa is also the one who wrote this script, that the play that you watched. I'm sure you loved it, and that is what he's capable of doing. So he's saying that you can write the script on your own, but just tell me something. Like, someone who you might be like a great mangaka, but have you done script writing in theaters? You haven't, have you? This is the first time you're doing, like, you're attempting something like this. Do you think you can perfect your craft in one day as a newbie? You think that? And obviously she was like, no, obviously not, like, and he's like, so there you go. Like, it's the same thing. Gua has been in this whole situation for a long time. You are a newcomer in this part, at least, so you cannot expect your script to go well. We will probably have to listen to you if you like, be adamant about it, but it won't be good. So that's how he kind of convinced him in the end. Samejima was like, all right, but I have a condition. So I'm guessing her condition was basically that I want to talk to Goa and you guys and this on the same screen, like, and discuss about this whole thing, which was obviously something that they needed to do. So then Goa and all of them, Raida and the other guy, I'm guessing like the manager or something, they all in the same screen, they start talking about the script. And you can see here Raida's like, okay, so let's see how this goes. Usually when both the script writer and the mangaka are in the same, like, place, it either goes well or it goes horribly. So let's see what happens. And you can see, since obviously Samejima went and watched the play, and Goa is a big fan of Samejima himself, both of them could see and kind of come to an understanding. Both of them could compromise. And so here you can see Samejima was like, oh, so try to do it like this, and Samejima kind of said that change this part to this and you can delete this part, everything will be fine. At which Goa was like, wait, so you are changing it? And she's like, yeah, it's fine, because since I'm doing this here first, that is not needed, so I can completely delete that. At which Goa was like, okay, so if you are fine with this, I think I have a better understanding what you deem okay, what you deem not okay. So in that way, what about this part? If we do something like this over here, are you okay with it? And she was like, yeah, it's fine, like this is perfect, And she and Goa's like, okay, fine, I think I have a good understanding of what you're okay with deleting and how you're okay with deleting and how you're okay in adapting that part. So he gets a better understanding of what she's thinking, and he's telling her that, oh, what about this part? Can I delete this part? And we're just going to bring it out through acting. And Samejima's like, okay, I didn't realize that you could do it like this though. So, okay, fine, go ahead. And they keep doing that, like little by little, and each of them understand each other, and it works. It works so well that they are awake throughout the whole night. In the morning, Raida's like, what the hell is this? Why am I still here? Anyways, they came up with a good script, and in the end it worked out. So everyone's happy. And yeah, so after that they went through the script and was able to make a proper script, and finally the rehearsals can resume. And obviously after reading the script, the new script, Akane, Anima, like, and the other guy, and the I forgot his name, Himejima, I think that was his name, who's like the top actor. They were like, oh, perfect, like just like I expected, just like I wanted. It's definitely very acting heavy, but I like this. And the only person who was kind of struggling with this, or two people, one is obviously Melt, because Melt isn't really um, accustomed to this like acting heavy, thing. And then also we have Aqua, who isn't really accustomed to this type of emotion heavy acting. So both of them are kind of struggling with this. Like Aqua's not really showing it on his face, so Melt is definitely like very perplexed and very, yeah. So then we get to see Aqua's acting, where Aqua and or Toki in this situation, and Saya, both of them, that scene. And you can see here when Saya is like almost dying, you can see here, as they say, Aqua's supposed to be like concerned, sad, but then when Saya wakes up, he's supposed to be happy. So he has to bring that out. So you can see Aqua very like casually was kind of smiling, which obviously he was probably trying to show his like relief and happiness when he saw Saya wake up again. But obviously it's not enough. That guy, I forgot his name. He's like Kindaichi, I think that's his name, wasn't it? Something like that, I think. He was like, oh, it's not happening. Put more heart to it. You are playing in the theater. You have to over exaggerate your emotion. If normally in that situation someone would probably act like that, but you have to like triple that, so that everyone else could see it. Because it's a theater, you're like sitting down a long way, like, and then which makes sense. Obviously you're just one person doing that part. So if you just smile very slightly, a lot of people won't be able to see that. They won't be able to understand. So you have to like exaggerate your emotions and like like that kind of thing. So yeah, there you go. And this is where they kind of talk about emotional acting, like emotion heavy acting, all these things. And they were talking about that Akane comes and tries to say that, oh, it's okay, you'll get used to it, where Aima comes in and she's like, don't baby him, he's not used to acting like this. Like, this is not how you act. Your acting is more of a like a very reserved and meek type of acting, which was okay up until now, because you were not doing theater, but this is theater, this is different. So, and she kind of says, like, ultimately one's personality is visible in the acting, and since your personality is something where you try to hide your emotions, or like not make your emotions visible, the same thing is happening here as well. So yeah, up until this point you only reproduced your performance that you saw somewhere, but now it's not going to work like that. And Akane's like, come on, you couldn't say that in a better way. And Aima's like, oh no, like like I know him better than you do, at least. I'm his of course I do. After all, I have the longest relation with Aqua of anyone here. I'm his childhood friend. And not like some newbie girlfriend who he just got. Akane's pissed. Akane's like, what the hell? Right. Anyways, Aqua's like, you know what, you're right. And he says, like, like, how do you do it, Arima? How do you bring out your emotions in these type of situations? At which she says, like, oh, like, just think about, like, what about if your mom would die? What would you do? That type of thing. Obviously, Kana meant it in a very normal way. This is how you bring out your emotion and everything. However, obviously, she doesn't know about Aqua's trauma, so Aqua immediately that triggers his PTSD, and he just starts like becoming short of breath. He starts like hyperventilating, and then she also says that, but not only that, you should also remember stuff that made you happy as you act. Surely you have something that made you happy throughout your life. Even you must have at least a thing or two that made you happy, right? Okay, so you can see here now Aqua is thinking, what happy things did he have? he's thinking about the dating show where all of his friends and everyone had a good time. So is it that? No, it was happy, but obviously it's not that strikingly happy. Then maybe Akane, like hanging out with Akane reconciling with that girl, with the whole drama happened in social media, that whole thing. Then maybe Arima and him playing on the playground, that little pitching session that they did, and maybe that. No, not quite. And maybe Bikomachi, and like them doing their singing, and me going and personally supporting them with the glow sticks, maybe that. And then finally you can see that it kind of highlights Ruby's smile, where she was happy smiling while being in Bikomachi, and finally he was able to think that, oh yeah, that's probably the most happiest I have been. And she kind of smiles, finally finding something happy. But oh boy, inside of him, the part of him that blames himself comes out, and he's like, don't you dare enjoy yourself. And which is his past self who's like blaming him. It's as if he's saying like, you have no right to be happy. Never forget, you could have saved her. And this is very interesting. I'm going to bring up another show, a reference here. This kind of reminds me of the whole Monogatari Araragi situation, where he blamed himself so... Okay, I don't think I should spoil here. He blamed himself so much about a few particular situation that something happened. And a particular thing happened which made him overly critical of himself, and it made him think that I shouldn't be happy because I wasn't able to do these type of things. I wasn't able to help these people. So I have no right to be happy. And me being this happy, I have no right for that. And that is why it went into such a degree that whole Owari Monogatari, that whole situation happens in Monogatari. This kind of reminds me of that, because it's kind of similar to that, where a certain person here is literally like standing in behind it, which is he himself, is blaming him that, oh, you couldn't save her, you have no right to be that happy. So he is not able to forgive himself at that situation. Here we go. He literally says, you have no right to. And then the face of I sprawled on the ground, and he starts hyperventilating. He falls down, almost throws up, and even like Kindaichi comes in and he's like, oh, what's going on, is everything okay? And he's like, no, something, like. Anyways, he goes off and takes a little bit rest, and Kindaichi's like, oh, go and take care of him, aren't you his girlfriend? And she's like, yeah. And Kana's like, what a convenient excuse you have. Anyways, Akane goes and gives him water, and she looks at him and she immediately realizes it's like a panic attack by his symptoms. And he's like, should I call your family or something? And he's like, no, don't call my family. I don't want to worry Ruby. And I guess it makes sense, because Aqua, obviously, if Aqua, if they inform his family, obviously Ruby will know that. So Ruby will come here and Ruby will realize that, oh, maybe my brother is having a PTSD episode, which will probably remember her of her own PTSD with the situation, is going to escalate and make her miserable as well. So he didn't want to remind Ruby about the situation, because if she realizes that his brother is thinking about that, she herself will get reminded of it. So he's like, no, don't do that. I don't want that. Anyways, so he's like, okay, so who can I go to in this situation? Gotanda, obviously. Gotanda's like not his dad. Anyways, so after that, okay, so here you can see Gotanda looks at Akane, and he's like, seems to be getting up to stuff I had no idea about. Now, I don't know why, but I feel like Gotanda probably thought that, oh, she kind of looks like I, because she does kind of look like I, like, doesn't she? Even her hair color and everything, kind of, a lot. And especially when she acts like I, when she does her whole acting, she look like she is exactly like I, the way she expresses herself and everything when she does her acting. So I'm guessing Gotanda probably realized that, and he's like, like, okay. Anyways, so after that, you can see Gotanda's like, all right, so let me tell you, you are kind of very close to him, so let me tell you. And so I was like, are you really going to tell her about everything? But then I see like, oh, he didn't really tell her everything. But you know what's funny? That at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Even if he didn't tell her everything, she literally put two and two together and immediately realized what happened. So Gotanda says that in his past, there was a certain incident that made him, like, like gave him this PTSD. And here we go. Long ago, he got caught up in an extremely terrible accident. When he recalls it, he ends up like this. He talks about his PTSD and how this panic attack happened before as well. Uh, and he has been in therapy. He has went to doctors, and it sometimes resurfaces like this. So, and same with Ruby as well. So he says all of this. Obviously, he doesn't say the main parts, and and Akane was like, okay. Then she goes, and in front of Aqua, when Aqua is sleeping, Aqua was muttering I like this, and Akane is like, what? I? And then she starts putting everything together. She's like, okay, so his obsession with his both the siblings' obsession with how this certain incident made him have this PTSD. Apparently, at the same time, I was murdered. Then the whole situation with like like that lady adopting them, and the fact that I was related to that lady, but because she was in her agency. Miyagi, I think that's her name. I forgot her name. Their adoptive mother. Um, and then she's like starts putting everything together. She thinks about everything. She remembers the part when she herself said that, oh, like I did my research on turns out I get the feeling that maybe she had a kid or something, and the way Aqua reacted back then, she puts everything together and she's like, damn, I think I know what happened. And I cannot 100% say it, but there's a high possibility of that happening. And this is the weird, like, and this is the thing. Akane, the way they portray Akane is very, like, what can I say? Like in a yandere way. Like, for example, you can see when Aqua was like muttering Ai's names, you see that she's just standing beside your bedside looking at you like this, eyes sparkling, and I'm like, what the hell? What type of horror movie is this? They did this before as well. Obviously they tried to like kind of show her obsession and the whole thing. That's why they kind of do it like this. But it's crazy sometimes the way they do it. But anyways, and you can see her eyes were shining back then. The star sign. So there you go. That was that. And now, like I said, I feel like she obviously came to the conclusion that Aqua is probably Ai's son, and Ruby's probably Ai's daughter. I'm sure she came to that conclusion because she herself kind of mentions it later. She says like, there's a certain scenario I thought in my head. If that is actually true, then this is so sad. She says something like that to Aqua later on. So I'm assuming she put two and two together and she has a very good understanding of what might have happened. But the thing is, if she came to the conclusion, I'm assuming she might also find it weird why Aqua was calling I with her name, not something like mother or something like that. She was saying, she was muttering I, and at that point of time, he was unconscious, like like dreaming. In your dreams, obviously, your inner like emotions come out. So he meant that from the bottom of his heart. He calls her I. So at least I would have been like, damn, if I is actually his mother, why does he call her by her full name, not something like mother or something? Obviously, we know why he does that, because he's a person who got reincarnated, and he was way older than I when, I think so, yeah, he was older than I, wasn't he? Yeah, he was a doctor, so he was older than I, and that is why he calls her I like that. He wasn't able to call her mom. Yeah, except Ruby, because Ruby was a child back then. when she died. What was her original name? I think Sarina or something like that. Sarina was a child, so for Sarina it was easy to call Aqua mom, because they are kind of like like a older sister, little sister, kind of like age gap, so she can easily call her mom. But for Aqua, obviously he's older than I, so he couldn't really call her mom. That's why in front of her called her mom, I'm guessing, but yeah, in her heart he called her I. So that is why he was not able to, he calls her I. But if I was in Akane's situation, if I had that amount of brain that I could completely deduce this fact that he might be Akane's son, I would also find it weird. Why is, if he's supposed to be Ai's son, why is he calling her I and not mother? So I would have found that weird. But anyways, that's that. And then she kind of hugs him and everything, and she's like, everything is okay, and that. I'll bear the painful things with you. He's like, what are you talking about? And then we see Gotanda looking at his desktop screen with those names. And that is where it ended. So there you go. That was today's episode number 4 of Oshinoko Season 2. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed, comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. And that is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Oshi no Ko. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.